tour in Trier. First to Trier, because we had to go a little bit on the highway to come to Trier, but only 5-10 minutes. And then we are directly in the city center. In the city center, we will go with the bus around the center, and then on top of the hill. Then we will have a beautiful view. The rain stopped, so I hope it remained in this way. And then yes, and on top of the hill, a short stop, drop off the bus for a few minutes, a beautiful view over the city center of Trier. Then down back to the city center, and in the city center we will start a walking tour, and there we will see a lot of interesting Roman remains, Roman structure, a little bit medieval time, a little bit from the modern city. So a lot to see in the city center. At the end we end at the Porta Nigra, the Black Gate, the famous landmark of Trier, and that's about 11:15. And then you will have half an hour free time and meeting time then with your tour manager will be at the same spot I leave you, so 11:45, 11:45, and then the buses will bring you back to the ship. That's what we do this morning. Yes, and when you look here around, we are at a very nice spot here along the river. You will see in the afternoon more of the typical part of the river, where we have a lot of curves and bends, very steep slopes, vineyards along the river. But here in this area we have more a wider valley, and that's the reason why the city of Trier is located in this wide valley. The city of Trier is called the oldest city of Germany, founded 17 BC. So the city is more than 2,000 years old. The first who came to this area was Julius Caesar. He conquered this territory in the middle of the 1st century BC. And all what we know under the name Luxembourg, Belgium, the Netherlands, 2/3 of France, and the western part of Germany was conquered by Julius Caesar, and since the middle of the 1st century BC it is a part of the Roman Empire. The new border was in this time along the Rhine, so the cities, Mainz, Cologne and Koblenz, they are in those times military camps. A lot of soldiers were stationed there, and these soldiers, they need goods, grain, textile, food, yes, and a lot of wine. Sure, a lot of wine. And so Trier is in those times established as a trading city for the supplies of the military camps. That's the reason why they built Trier here at this spot. It's the first place when you come from the Rhine where you have enough space to establish a large city. And that they do in 17 BC. The name of the city in those times was Augusta Treverorum, so not built under Caesar, Julius Caesar. It was built under the Rhine of Augustus. The city, the name Augusta Treverorum, that means Treverorum. That's the name of the Celtic tribe who settled here in former times, the Celtic tribe of the Treveries, which was conquered then by Julius Caesar. Therefore the name Treveries, Augusta Treverorum, that became shortened in the passage of the time Treveries, Trier nowadays. So it comes from this old Roman Celtic tribe. Yes, and then the city developed very, very quick to an important trading city. At the beginning of the 2nd century, it became the capital city of the province Gallica Belgica. In those times it was called Gaul, and a lot of administration was established, and they built a bath, they built a large city wall around the city, they built an amphitheater, so it became a wealthy, important, large city, middle of the 2nd century. But then at the end of the 3rd century it became more important because it was elevated to an imperial city. imperial city, that means it is a seat of the emperor for the next 100 years, the emperor of the Western Roman Empire. And the seat, that means they have residence, they have a throne hall, and the next 100 years, 10 emperors ruled from Trier, the Western Roman Empire. The most important and the most known one is surely Constantine. He started his reign in Trier, and also his sons ruled from Trier, Emperor Valentinian, the first and also the second Emperor Gratian. They all ruled from Trier. So up to the end of the 4th, beginning 5th century, Trier is a very important city, one of the most important spots in the whole Roman Empire. We have an inscription from Rome. There Trier is called the 4th important city. First Rome, Alexandria, Constantinople, and then Trier. So important it is. The population in those times, 60 to 80,000 inhabitants. But all this importance, and when the Germanic tribes who are living at the other side of the Rhine, behind the borders, when they became powerful, and so they overrun the borders, penetrate deep in the hinterland, and 4 or 5 times Trier was destroyed by these tribes, by the Germanic tribes, and at the end it fell in the hand of the Franks. We became Frankish. Dangerous for the Romans, they left this area, went back down to Milan and to Arles, and for us here it is so the bad Middle Ages starts. And the only man who prevented the city from the total decline was the bishop. The bishop took over the properties of the Roman, the organization, the administration, and it developed during the early Middle Ages and developed a church state dominated by the church institutions, and that is so for the whole Middle Ages. Abbeys, convents, monasteries were built in the city center. The bishop became an archbishop, the bishop became a prince elector. That means he is a ruler of the large important church state. And that is so up to the time when the French Revolution starts in Paris. You came from Paris. You have heard about the French Revolution, and Paris is not so far away from this region here. And so we were directly conquered by the revolution troops. And for 20 years we are part of France, so we are integrated in the French Empire and the so-called capital city of the Saar Departement. 20 years, in those times the church state is dissolved, the properties of the churches were nationalized, divided, sold, and that is for about 20 years. But then by the Congress of Vienna, after the downfall of Napoleon, we were integrated in the Prussian Empire. So the Berliners are coming here to this area. From Berlin, they ruled also this area here, the part of the Prussian Rhine provinces. And that is so for the next 100 years. World War I and World War II, we also, in fact, yesterday you have heard about the battles of the Bulge. You have been on the cemetery? Yes. And also Trier is, in fact, in this context, end of December 1944, the 23rd December, the attacks from the Air Force starts here for Trier, and within 10 days 1/3 of the city center was destroyed. The reason why they attacked Trier was in those times really easy. We have in the east of the city a large railway station with a large material depot for the German army coming from Trier here, from this material depot. A lot of material is coming from here, and so it was necessary to destroy this train line, and therefore Trier was attacked. Yes, and nowadays we are we are a big city. Official, we are a big city, more than 100,000 people. That means in Germany it is a big city, but we are a small big city. 115,000 inhabitants nowadays. A good place to live. I can say it, I'm born in Trier, studied in Trier, live in Trier, and I don't want to leave it. It's a very nice place to live here. We have very beautiful surroundings, a nice landscape, a lot of nature in the surrounding, and in the city of Trier it is so good from the structure that we have everything we need here. and it is not too big, so we can feel well here in this area. So, and here we are now nearly in the city center. We are a little bit in the suburbs. At the right side you see the first rocks of the city, the rock formation, the red sandstone rock formation through the houses behind the trees. You see it. Red sandstone, it's the only place you see it here by Trier. When you come from Luxembourg, there we have more limestone underneath in the surface and the soil. And when we come more to the Rhine, so up from the afternoon the next days, you will see more slate. There we have the Rhinish slate rock massif. So the red sandstone is the only place here in Trier where you see it. Red sandstone, you will see this red sandstone also all over in the city because it is used as building material. From Roman times on, they use this to build houses in the city. Modern building sites also, you'll see here the population rise very quick in the last 20 years. That's come also from the situation European Union. Luxembourg is a very wealthy, very important city, very expensive city. A lot of Luxembourgish people buy houses here in Trier to live here. It's much cheaper to live in Trier than to live in Luxembourg. And so they commute daily. And that's also the reason why the population rises here in Trier. Now you see it at the right hand side, the sandstone formation of the rocks here of Trier. And the Mosel is also at the right side, the houses which are coming here at the right side. Wir gehen jetzt noch ein Stückchen entlang der Moselberg, erstmal bis zur Römerbrücke, geradeaus weiter hier. The houses here at the right hand side, that's the old fisherman's district, in former times a separate quarter directly at the Moselle, nowadays integrated in the city center. Houses 17th, 18th, 19th century, fishermen and their families are living there directly at the banks of the river. Nowadays houses were used mostly for pubs, restaurants and bars. And then the first bridge of Trier, the bridge of Emperor William, it's coming here at the right hand side. Inaugurated 1914. We call it here in Trier, it is our new bridge. She is only 100 years old, and that's in Trier surely a new one. And then left hand side, there are coming the first monasteries. In former times monastery here, the monastery of St. Martin here at the left hand side. You see crosses here at the right side. And the monastery was established there the first time in the 6th century. The first church was built in the 5th century. St. Martin was a bishop of Tours, and he was at Trier twice, erected there the first church, and later abbey was established there during the whole Middle Ages. It served the church, and then nowadays it is used as a student flat. And all the monasteries were nationalized and sold in the time of the French occupation. Although the next one, which is coming, the white building here at the left-hand side, in former times is the convent nuns of St. Catherine. They are living here. And nowadays the high school for fashion and design. When the nuns would knew this, I think they were very glad. The building at the left-hand side, it's nowadays a senior residence, so a home for elderly people. The present shape, 18th century, underneath storehouses of the Roman times, so large buildings where they store their goods. Nowadays in these ruins of the storehouses is a wine cellar, the oldest wine cellar of Germany. A senior residence with a wine cellar underneath, you can imagine that it is a good combination. Right side, the harbor crane. The harbor crane from the 14th century. Inside a very remarkable technology, a wooden treadmill driven with human power. So men are running in a big wheel, like hamsters, we know it from the animals. In those times the men are running, and with this movement of the man, the roof could be moved, 2 loading arms, so the ships could be loaded and uploaded by one movement. And here is coming the second harbor crane. It is built 300 years later. So we see No technical improvement within 300 years. Yes. And then what is interesting, the right side is coming. That is what we call our old bridge, the Roman bridge. The black pillars, they are from Roman times. You see it here very good. And these basalt lava blocks were joined together with iron clamps and then deep embedded in the rock structure of the river. Du musst gleich auf die linke Seite und dann hinten bei dem ganz letzten weißen Haus links rein. Yes, and then you see the black pillars in Roman time, the wooden roadway. The red arches you see, they are from the medieval time. And what you see is that our modern traffic run over this bridge. 10,000 cars every day. General pattern, enter the city when you come over this bridge. It's the only bridge which was not destroyed during the Second World War. And you see the bridge pillars are at the other side pointed, so then when flotsam and drift ice come down the river, don't destroy the pillars. So it was possible that the bridge survived for such a long time, 1,800 years. The exact date of this bridge, it was built in 144 AD, so more than 1,800 years old. And then directly the next spot, right side, the large baths, the Barbara bath it is called nowadays. The quarter was a Barbara quarter. And the ruins of the bathing pool you see, mostly the size is about, in Roman time, yeah, it's much more than the double we see nowadays. 42,000 square meter, 450,000 square feet. That means about 6 football fields. So large. Yes, the second largest of the whole empire stood in Trier. The largest stood in Rome, the second largest in Trier. Yeah, there you see how important is the city in those times when they had such a large bath. Also built in the middle of the 2nd century. That we have at this spot only ruins nowadays is a result of the medieval time. In the medieval time they had no respect to protect historical monuments. When a building is not used, they dismantled it, they used the stones to build other edifices in the city. So with the stones of the Barbara Bath, they built a Jesuit college in the city center in the 17th century. So it works all over. That means, but also at the other side later we will see buildings in upright position, then we can be sure that they all were used in the medieval time. At the left side, the building, you see there the brown building, that's a modern synagogue. The synagogue built after the Second World War, 1956. The old was destroyed during the war, and so the Jewish community built a new one. We have about 600 members in the moment of the Jewish community. Yes, and then you'll see all over the left side there is a tree alley, a park alley which run around the city center. Around the city center, like in a square. That's a spot where we had in Roman time a large street. Nochmal ganz kurz langsam über die Kreuze. Look to the right side. You see a street running out of the city in a straight line. That's a typical Roman street. We have 2 main streets in Roman time. One from there, the south, up to the north in a straight line. One from the bridge, where we are in the west, to the east, where the amphitheater is located, and also in a straight line. And 2 thoroughfares through the city. Decumanus Maximus, Cardo Maximus. Parallel to this, we had a rectangular network of street. So it looks a little bit like a chessboard, the street system of Roman times. A typical ancient manner, but when you go to New York, Midtown, it's the same system. Left side, another bath. We will see it again when we come down from the hill, but the first spot you see here, the large windows from the caldarium, that's a Latin name of the hot bath. Hot bath means we have temperatures like yesterday. The inside. About 40 degrees Celsius, 42 degrees Celsius. So hot is the temperature normally in the bath. And then 3 pools with water, hot water. But we have no hot springs in the city. So it is so that it is a lot of effort to produce hot water. The water comes from over aqueducts to the city, then filled in water pipes. The water pipes lead to the bath. There they filtered in iron boilers or copper boilers. Then cooked the water. They make fire under the boilers. Cooked the water, mixed it with a little bit cold water, and with it they reach the temperature they need to fill it in the bathing pools. Yes, and then we have a tepidarium, a lukewarm bath, temperatures about 28 degrees Celsius, and then a frigidarium with cold air and cold water. And the Roman starts normally with the cold area from cold to hot, and then back to cold to cool down again. Yes, little sports, gymnastics, and additional services in the surrounding. More I explain when we're coming back to this spot. Yes, here we are going along a little bit to the hill. The next we will see is the amphitheater located at the foot of the hill. And it is built, the amphitheater is built with the earth from the hill. They put the earth from one side to the other side, arranged in the middle in an arena, and produce separate slopes around the arena so that the people are kind of sitting around the arena to see what happened there inside. It is the spot we see here at the left-hand side. Wir gehen da hoch, langsam. Großen Schwung den Kopf.
Very steep.
Yes, and then we are going here with the bus up to the hill, through the vineyards. A little bit tricky this. Yeah, and then left-hand side, look there. The two remaining wall parts, that is the entrance of the amphitheater in those times. A large